Welcome to As Above.
So below,
I am Kisha Lee, the Psychic Yogi.
and I am Cidnee Rich, and this is the new moon in Taurus episode of our lovely cosmic chat and energy read. If you do join the Patreon, you can participate in the meditation that we have afterwards. So a new moon in Taurus. I love this energy. I was just been talking to Kisha about it. It's my favorite new moon of all the new moons. Because to me, it feels like the most literal of the energy. You know, you think of new moons and you think of, I'm going to manifest, it's new beginnings, I'm going to set my intentions. I'm really gonna, I have this new cycle. We're starting this new cycle. And I feel like Taurus energy really helps ground all that into our reality, which is our goal, right? We set our intentions because we want it to happen. We want to experience it. We want to live it. We want to have it. And that's all Taurus. Okay. Taurus mantra is I have. So this new moon truly feels like an I have new moon when it comes to setting our intentions. I also wanted to speak about that because earlier I was like listening to tarot reading, energy reading from somebody. And a lot of times when we talk about or do this work in general, right, we're talking about energy and we're talking about, what this means. And it can seem like because we're talking about what's happening right now, that it should happen right now. And when it doesn't happen right now, it can feel like, oh, well, that was bullshit. This was said, but this didn't come to fruition. And, that can feel like, because we talk about it in such present terms, because that's how we should speak about all of this work, that it can feel like, well, it didn't happen yet today, it didn't happen tomorrow, so it's not going to happen. But this Taurus energy is a reminder of what being steadfast really means in your beliefs or in your desires or in your manifestations. This isn't something that happens overnight. When you set goals for yourself, whether they're physical or whether they're, I'm going to finish school or I'm going, whatever the case may be, it's nothing that happens overnight. Like no one's like, I'm going to set a goal and it's going to be accomplished tomorrow. Like that is just not realistic, right? So with that earthy energy of Taurus, it's a good reminder with this new moon that we have to be realistic as we work within our spiritual selves. Although spirituality is magical and it is, this amazing, can't understand it thing that we're tapping into, there's still a method to the madness, and it doesn't just happen overnight, and it isn't a fairy godmother energy. So just remind yourself that just because you haven't seen what you're wanting yet doesn't mean it's not coming, doesn't mean you're not doing the work. And to not feel discouraged in that, but kind of tap into that Taurus bull energy and just keep going. Like be stubborn in it and say like, no, this is what I want. I'm going to have it. It's mine. I'm going to continue to put that work in because that's what we all have to do in order to see the results. So I think this new moon is not only us a new beginning and where we can set new intentions and new things that we want to have, but it's also a reminder of the intentions that we have been setting, that we still want to continue to bring those in to the fold and to also understand that those things are still coming. And just because they're not here yet doesn't mean that we need to just scrap it and start over. So that's another thing when it comes to new moon energy. But I think it's important with all of these cycles. It's like we're not starting over. We're just like building upon everything. And this gives us that opportunity to, like I was talking about with Kisha, to just kind of chill out, just take a breath and say like, okay, like I have been putting in the work and I'm excited to put in more work. And I know exactly what I want and where I'm going, but I can also just be present and really take in what I have accomplished and what intentions that I have set that have come to fruition that I can experience right now, or I am experiencing right now. Because if we're always trying to go for this goal, we're never enjoying anything. Life doesn't, life becomes very futuristic instead of present. And, you know, who knows how long any of us are going to be here. So to have that like always future outlook, it can kind of get a little exhausting, or it kind of can get a little like hopeless. So it's important to see what is in your life currently that you have intended for yourself, that has come to fruition because of the hard work that you put into it, and because of what you value, because of what you care about, because of the life that you want to live. Going back to that Taurus energy, that gratitude, as we all know, is the best attitude. That gratitude allows for fuel for those new intentions, or for those ones that we're waiting to see to come in a little bit stronger, or maybe come in a little bit sooner. So I think this new moon, because it's the new moon, right? We can't see it in the sky. It's very introspective. It's a good time to be introspective about what you do have and what you have accomplished, and give yourself some credit, right? Give yourself a pat on the back, because that matters. Because if it doesn't matter, then whatever matters if we don't take the time to pay attention to what we have currently. So I think that's an important part of this moon, because it's an important part of the cycle. And fixed energy, you know, a lot of times it gets this reputation of, it's like, oh, it, like I said earlier, it's like stubborn, right? But really what it is, it's dedicated. It has conviction behind it. And so it's reminding you, all of us, that we have to be convicted and, like I said, steadfast in what we value, what we care about, what we want, how we want our lives to look. That's an everyday choice that we make, to make this choice and this choice and this choice, to create our environment that we want to live within. And it's funny that we have had this whole, you know, rap beef going on. I would be remiss not to bring it up as a huge Kendrick fan. But Taurus energy is about what we value. And we saw within this kind of dynamic this juxtaposition between something of substance, or what do you value, what is important to you, what are you doing for the people or for yourself, what are you emphasizing in your life, and then having that other kind of like side of it where it may feel a little bit more empty and less substantive, and it kind of feels like a little like flossy. Like, and when I mean flossy, I mean that in a couple ways, right? Like, it's very superficial, but it's also very weak. It doesn't have a lot of strength to it. So I think that's interesting, where we see the culture, public opinion kind of leaning on the side of stuff that has substance, that you can really stand behind, and that you want to, that is valuable and you see has value, because that matters. You know, that's what matters about life. Things that character, and things that make us who we are, that we admire. And so Taurus has that energy too, especially with it being ruled by Venus. I think a lot of times with Venus energy, it's that quality that like makes someone attractive, right? And it's not always their physical, it's just like how their character is. Like, wow, this person has integrity, like that is really attractive. Or this person's really convicted in their beliefs, like that's really attractive. So it's not always about just on the surface, it's about that deeper conviction and deeper value that really can attract what you desire to you. So keep that in mind when you're setting your intentions, because if you really don't believe in what it is that you're asking for, maybe that's why it's not coming around, or maybe it doesn't really align with who you are. So that's what's coming through for me with this cosmic check. I'm going to pull. I got my fancy deck out because it's got the gold. I figured that was fun. And it's got people on it. So I was thinking Taurus, like I'm talking about authenticity, it rules the voice, right? The voice, our personal power. So it's really centered around the person and how they're showing up or how we're showing up. So I was like, oh, I'm going to use this deck. I haven't used it in a while. And it's the only deck I have that has depictions of real people, real pictures on them. So Taurus is very real. It's tangible. You can feel it, you can touch it, you can experience it, you can eat it, you can smell it, you can see it, you can hear it. What is the collective message for this new moon in Taurus? Ugh. Wow. Okay. So first up is the Magician. That's that co-creation energy. So that's perfect for a new moon. The Magician is all about our co-creation with spirit. It's also Uranus energy. Uranus is also in Taurus right now. So we have that support of Taurus in surprising us with what it is that we can actually manifest. You know, maybe we didn't think we could, but there's this unpredictability to Uranus energy that comes out of nowhere. And so continue to make those intentions, set those intentions, and also check back into what you've asked for, because it could be coming right around the corner and you not even realizing is about to be in your space. Next up, the Knight of Wands, but it came up reverse. So that's that message again of slowing down. You know, you don't want to, it's okay to take your time, because taking your time means, one, you're probably making sure you're checking all your boxes, but two, you're also able to stop and smell the roses. So everything doesn't have to be so fast, but it's still coming to you, because that's that night energy. So nights are carrying messages or carrying information. So it's carrying your passion or your desire, but it's maybe taking a little time, but that's okay. The Magician's here to let us know that spirit heard you. Spirit's bringing it to you, because that's that co-creation energy. And the Three of Cups. Lovely celebration, happiness, abundance, joy. This is like that energy of like a party, marriage, like that type of energy. It's this idea of like getting something that you really want. You get to celebrate it. You're happy about it. You feel so emotionally like overwhelmed with good emotions. So this is a really cool message, because it really is just reemphasizing that we are co-creating our reality with spirit. So just make sure that you stay steadfast in your convictions. It's okay if it's taking a little time, because we're supposed to be enjoying this journey, not always just waiting to get to the destination. And soon we will be really enjoying ourselves, because what we're asking for is coming. And this is also a message to remember to enjoy yourself while you're on that journey.
Well, that was timely and also cohesive with goddess guidance from earlier today, because the message from the goddess guidance meditation was about transformation and your prayers being heard and are being answered, but also just trusting in your process. And the process can be, for me, I feel the process is cyclical. If we look at nature, right, nature moves in cycles and in rhythms and in seasons. It's kind of like what you were saying as far as goals and attaining them. You have to stop and smell the roses along the path, right? Slow down for a moment, not be so future oriented, so that you can actually not just reap your harvest and take stock of all that you've invested in as far as your time, your energy, your money, your presence, your creativity, and so forth. Like those things are all gifts that you share with other people, right? And along the way, sometimes when we become so goal oriented, we forget to have enjoyment in those other areas. Enjoy the time that we're spending with others, enjoy the energy levels, whether that means we need to rest or we need to keep going, or just somewhere in between, we need to collaborate with others. When it comes down to money, it's one of those things where, are you investing it in things that actually bring you joy? And if not, then maybe you should do so. And so it's interesting, because for some reason the message of like not really collaboration, but it feels like, I'm just gonna read what I wrote. What came to me. It's about being in the present moment, right? On the path. But remember that the path can go left and right, and it's not necessarily a linear thing. It can be almost cyclical, like a labyrinth in a way, right? In a labyrinth, once you get to the center, you're surrounded by all that you have walked through and passed, and what the experiences that you attained along the way. You are now coming to a center point, right? So you have those experiences now. And to me, it's one of those things where being present along the path, along your journey, not only is it a gift, but to me, it's kind of that transitional energy between Aries, which their mantra is I am, and becoming self realized. But then Taurus is becoming like self actualized, right? It's about not just being present, but knowing how to presence yourself. Okay. And not, that sounded weird, but not how to, it's about how to presence yourself. And so what you were speaking on, Cidnee, I realized when it comes down to achievements and goals, like really taking a moment to own them. And so this week is Teachers Appreciation Week, and I've always had this underlying current or foundation of teacher in my whole career path. But it's recently this year and this week where I was like, holy crap, like I've always been a teacher and I've always taken pride in that, but now I'm like, I teach at an accredited college. Like this is significant. And so I took a moment to really just celebrate that about myself. You know what I'm saying? That leveling up, right? That elevation, that promotion, not necessarily in a literal sense, but also in an energetic and a spiritual and a purposeful type of sense. And so I was kind of like, oh, okay. So now being able to not just identify myself as that, but to actually have that experience, like it's happening right here. I gotta be there tomorrow, like I was there today. So it's one of those things where, okay, knowing how you present yourself is one thing, being self-realized, like, okay, I am this, but the actual ability to presence yourself has to come from this deep inner knowing, this havingness, right? And because sometimes when we're in self-realization, we're like, okay, I'm aware mentally that, I'm a divine being, I'm a sovereign being, I'm this, that, child of God, yada, yada, yada. But being able to actually presence yourself requires you to be present. And so what presencing yourself looks like is really owning your achievements. For me personally, I don't know, I was, I guess, in a weird space one day, and I got caught up in being like well, I'm still very spiritual, but on social media, especially the last few years, I was very much more in the, oh, I'm the psychic yogi, so I talk more about spiritual stuff. But now this particular career path that I'm on gives me a more solid, stable foundation to really talk my shit. Okay, the stuff that I've been knowing, it now is like, oh, you can own this now because you have this foundation, this stability, this what do you call it? This certainty, right? That's undeniable. And it gives me that credibility. It helps me to leverage that aspect of me that has already been self-realized and make it like an actual thing, right? So What I mean by that is I've always known I was a spiritual teacher. I've always known I'm just a teacher in general, and it's my purpose, my goal to share my teachings and wisdom and so forth. But to presence myself is to be like, yes, I have been facilitating women's meditation for 17 years every week. Yes, I have been a Reiki, or I am a Reiki master teacher. I can trace my lineage straight back to Yusui himself. You know what I'm saying? And I've been doing that for 13 years. I am a neuromuscular therapist. I am a teacher at a massage school or at a beauty school. I'm a lead instructor there. And so it's like, yeah, we can be like, oh, I am my divine presence. I am great. I am all these things. But to actualize it, right, you need to own that. You need to have that grounding within yourself to be able to actually share that with conviction, right? And with courage sometimes, because we're not always taught how to presence ourselves, because sometimes people we have there's collective lack consciousness, and I don't want to say there's a collective low self-worth, but there is this juxtaposition where I am abundant, I am wealthy, and all this sort of stuff, but then we can judge other people that have things that we don't, creating that jealousy and envy and that space in between. But if you know what you have, if you know who you are, if you could stand 10 toes down on that, right, then it's like no one can really take that from you, right? You can say what you want to say about me all day long, but you still have to respect the fact that I do this and that on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like that stability, that fixed energy of Taurus energy, right? That groundedness. And I really like a Taurus new moon, or a Taurus moon in general. There's certain signs that I like and prefer in a moon versus others, but Taurus moon to me feels like not just standing on business, but in a way that feels very sovereign and worthy. And it's a space of where there's permission to honor yourself, to align with the things that you really value, and to recognize your own self-worth and value. It's like a moon that gives you permission to really check in with your emotions and be able to say, this is what I really want. This is what I desire, on not just a level where it's what I think I deserve or desire, or what culture, society, other people say I should have or am worthy of. This is what I truly desire for myself on a very deep, deep soul level. And so for me, you have the present, which is a gift in itself. And then to presence yourself is also about not just recognizing those gifts that you have in the present moment, but being able to discerningly share those resources with others. It's like, I am this and I have this to offer, right? So I am as Aries, I have as Taurus, and it's that transition between I am this is who I am, and I have this to offer, right? So you have to know who you are, right? Know thyself in order to know what you have to offer, to be a resource not only to yourself, but also to others. And so that's what this Taurus energy to me feels like, is learning to resource yourself and to value yourself so that you can continue to move forward, not only with conviction and dedication, but with devotion, with ritual, with accountability, and also with pleasure, with joy or enjoyment, with love and lightheartedness, but it's very tangible and very real. You're taking stock in that moment of your creations and the seeds that you've sown. Now you're reaping your harvest of that. It's like it's tangible. And I think this is kind of a sidebar, but this is so one thing I noticed with earth energy, especially Taurus and that Venusian vibe of like romance and beauty and love and worth and abundance and everything, is it's interesting how we associate a lot of positive things that we connect with nature with, like, where am I going with this? With I guess with pleasure, like kind of romance, things like that. So, for example, okay, um, when we say someone they're very grounded, someone's very grounded, we tend to appreciate that, right? We value people in our lives who can be grounding for us. Or we'll say things like, when it comes down to nature, we'll be like, oh, natural, organic, those are things that people tend to value more instead of the facades and the masks and the inauthentic expressions of who they may think they are versus who they really are, all that kind of stuff, right? Um, Also, stopping to smell the roses, right? That's a positive thing. It's about um, holding back just a little bit from going too far ahead, from getting too ahead of yourself, right? Stop and smell the roses, like taking moments of gratitude along your path, recognizing the beauty that is along your path. Or everything coming up roses, it's as if the seeds that you've planted are now coming into this high vibrational, beautiful creation, right? So to me, that's also kind of what Taurus, being an earth energy and that Venus vibe, brings together. And with it being in a new moon, it's like, how can you cultivate more opportunities, cultivate and harvest opportunities that really fulfill you on a deep soul level, and help you to be more fulfilled and have sustainability in your emotional well-being, your resilience, and your I don't know, it feels like perseverance. I think that's that stubborn, fixed energy. Like, this is what I want, I'm just gonna go for it type of energy of Taurus as well. So, how can you make those things like more sustainable? How can you make your emotional well-being and the pleasures you experience in your life more sustainable? So, that will be something to contemplate on this Taurus new moon for manifestation.
Love it. I love it so much. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can touch it. It's there. That's why I like the Taurus energy. All the spiritual things always sound a little, you can't grab it. It's like a little elusive. Taurus makes it feel like, oh, this is what we're all working towards. This is what all of this means, or how it shows up, or what it looks like, or how it feels like in this way. So what a
Yeah.
great
One thing also that I'm glad you mentioned this, because you're talking about the spiritual and how, like, how do we make that practical or real tangible and things like that. So I wanted to share, since we are called As Above, So Below, on this channel. Um, did you know that the quote, as above, so below, is actually a mistranslation? Because the actual translation is, the above is made of the below, and the below is made of the above. And I just really love that, because when we think of as above, so below, we kind of create this a little bit of a disconnect, right? We're thinking everything is like up there, supposed to be great and heavenly. What the hell is this shit going on down here on earth? This ghetto here. So this to me feels more like a the actual translation of that to me is more harmonious and more balanced. And I think that's a better way to look at that the above is made of the below, and the below is made of the above. So there's a co-creative energy there that can be cultivated. And I think that's a better perspective, or more a beautiful perspective on how to see that.
Max. Well, like I said, I was ahead of the curve because that's how I always saw it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Cool. So you can subscribe, share, like, comment, all that, and follow us on Patreon or join our Patreon. I'm really trying to crack this Patreon code. I don't know what it is. I got feedback that people don't want another app. and I want to download something else. So I don't, maybe that's what it is. I just, I can't crack the code, and it is a mystery to me.
Well,
But
look, I'm like, depending on how many subscribers and so we got on YouTube, we can leverage that and make a member for the meditations and so forth.
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube and you're into that, then like, let's talk about it. Okay. Let's make it real. Also, if you're in Atlanta, Kisha and I will be at Protect Your Energy Conference on Saturday. So you can come IRL, see us, hang. We're going to do a little version of this there. And you get readings too. So cool. See ya for the Gemini season. Wowzers, we're already there. That's crazy.
Whew. How I feel about Gemini season.
Let's get crazy.
Yeah, it's like, okay, people are gonna be peopling. All right.